Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò wa podcast ni.
Welcome to the Life Podcast. Again, this is your host, CJ. Welcome. Thank you for watching this. Today, we have something very special. We are going to be talking about Black culture and history in specifically Nigeria. So I have a very special guest with me here today. Her name is Ruth. Ruth, how you doing today?
I'm fine.
Okay, so you're up in Nigeria, right?
Yes.
All right, so it's very special. I'm glad that you're here. We'll actually get an opportunity to talk about Nigeria a little bit, talk about your experience in the classroom
Okay.
in Nigeria, um, and then see how you feel about, bringing more Black history into Nigeria and how, African Americans could help Nigerians out. You know what I mean? Let's start off like this. Where specifically were you born?
I was born in Lagos State.
Lagos. Okay, and Lagos is the capital of Nigeria, right?
No, it
Oh,
used to be.
oh, it used to be
Yes, now it's Abuja.
Abuja. Oh, okay, yeah. I think I heard about that one. Changing. So Lagos is a big city though.
Yes, it's a big city. Like it's one of the beautiful places in Nigeria.
I see. So do you still live there in Lagos, or you live
Yes.
somewhere?
Yes, I live in Lagos.
Okay, all right. I know Nigeria. What's so special about Nigeria is that it has like, I think the highest population in Africa, like 200 million people.
Yes.
So like I can only like imagine what that looks like in such a smaller country, because the United States has like 300 million, but we're so much bigger as a country. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yes.
Nigeria is a bit smaller, and I could just imagine, like, I always think of it as like crowded, or like a lot of people. Is
Yes.
Yeah,
It gets crowded, especially at the markets. A lot of people come to get things. So it's usually crowded at the market area.
that's good. That's good. So that means
Like,
you could potentially get a lot of sales.
mm,
Depends on what you're selling, right?
oh,
It depends on what you're selling.
yes.
Okay. All right. So you're still in Lagos right now. Describe
Yes.
like your family household, like growing up. Like, who did you grow up around? Who did you grow up with? What did that look like?
Growing up, it was not that bad. It was not that bad because we were like average, one poor and one that rich. So I have about 7 siblings. My dad was polygamous, so
Okay.
we're
Okay.
crowded. So it wasn't bad. I actually went to a private school. I was the only one who went to private school
Oh,
among my siblings.
wow.
The rest had to go to public school because when it gets to that time, there was not much money to put them
Wow.
in a private school.
Wow. Okay. So you said you had 7 siblings?
Yes.
Okay, so 7 siblings. Where are you in? Are you the oldest, the youngest? Where are you in that?
Um, I'm second.
You're
I
the
have another brother.
you're the second oldest.
Yes.
Okay, so you have a lot of young siblings then.
Yes, I have a lot of young siblings.
This episode is sponsored by the Lyfe Network, where we focus on melanin history, culture, and wellness. Please support our products that represent history, culture, and wellness. We have king and queen shirts that represent our history and the greatness that we have in our culture for thousands of years. We also have confident shirts that give a message of positivity and bring value to our self-worth. We also have Confianza shirts to represent the Hispanic and Latin community to bring together Black and Brown unity. You can find our products on 2 different platforms. 1, our website, and 2, Etsy.com. Our website, Lyfe, -network.com. You can also check out Etsy and type in the Lyfe Network. If you have any questions, we do have a number available on our website, so please feel free to contact us today with any questions. So support us today and enjoy the rest of the episode. Your school experience. You said you went to private school.
Yes, I went to private school.
Yeah, can you describe like how Nigerian schools set up? Like in America, we have like elementary, then you have middle school, then you have high school, and then you
Um,
graduate. What does that look like in
we
Nigeria?
have yeah, we just call it primary and secondary. Like after kindergarten, you go through nursery, after nursery, then primary school. Then after primary school, then you go to secondary school. Then after secondary school, that's when you go to the university.
Okay. Okay, so describe like the ages. Like primary school is what age?
Okay, from here, kindergarten, you can start up kindergarten from 2 years old.
Wow.
So then when you get to like 4 or 5, you'll be in nursery school by then. Then when you're like 3 years, because they have nursery 1, 2, and 3. So 3 years, you'll be like 6 or 7 by then. Then you head up to primary school. Primary has 6 classes. Primary 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 6.
Mm.
So you start up from primary 1, primary 2, primary 3. And when you get up to primary 6, you graduate to secondary. And the secondary has two. It has senior secondary and junior secondary. So the junior secondary is JSS1, JSS2. That's junior secondary school, 1, 2, and 3. Then after 3, you graduate again to SS1. That's senior secondary school, 1, 2, 3.
I see. Okay. All right. So you had
Kind of long.
yeah. So how far up did you go into? Like where did you finish?
I finished my secondary school.
Okay. And that was at age.
I started school early, so I finished my secondary school at age 16.
Well,
Finished everything. I was 16 when I finished everything.
okay, so at 16, you pretty much graduated and you were pretty
Yeah,
much
when you are good in class, they like promote you. They're like, you can go ahead with this or that class. So I got that while I was in primary school. So I skipped like a class
okay.
and graduated into the next year.
Okay, so you were super smart.
I won't say that, but I guess.
Okay. All right, good. So I guess throughout your school experience and more so when you were older, 13, 14, 15, that kind of age,
Yeah.
what was your favorite subject?
I was an art student. We have when you get to senior secondary school, they like have 3 departments. You have arts, commercial, and science. So I was an art student. I liked English and literature more.
Okay.
So those were I like literature because I like reading books and
That's really good.
yeah,
Okay. So, what would you say is your least favorite subject? What did you not like?
I don't like maths. I'm not good at it.
Not good at math, huh?
Yes. You know, in schools over here, I see in some movies and all that in Nigeria, you literally get beaten by your teachers with canes like this, something like this, something like this. It's more tinier. So
Yeah.
if you fail or something, your teacher will flog you.
Oh, really? They're allowed to hit you.
Yes, they hit you. If you disrespect your teacher, they will flog you.
I like that though, because that puts you in order. Like that makes you
Yes. You don't want to talk to your teacher any bad manner or be responsible in class
exactly. Do they still
and
do that
listen
today?
because oh,
Do they still do that today?
they still do it. They still do it in mostly the public schools.
Ah, I
So
see.
most private school doesn't. They still do it, but somehow civilized now they don't do it anymore because parents get angry because you pay school fees. When it's a private school, you pay. So go, if mad at teacher, I pay for this. Why would you hit my child?
Oh, I
So
see.
most schools don't do it, but some still do it. They still do it.
Very, that's interesting. But like I said, I like it. In America, you can't do that at all. I mean, you almost can't even the teacher almost can't even talk in a certain way. You know, I think the kids
I've seen that in some movies. I'll be like, this
yeah, you know, I think
in Nigeria,
some
your
kids are
parents will even go report you to your teacher to get with. My mom does that. She go and report me to the teacher that I'm being stubborn at home. They should flog me, stuff like that. And
exactly.
your teacher will whip you very well. You have marks all over your body.
Exactly. So it's like you know, here I feel like the kids are just a bit too spoiled. And
Yeah,
so
very, not a bit, very.
yeah, exactly. You understand exactly. So with that spoiledness, it comes like a certain behavior. And so sometimes they get out of hand, they don't know respect, and it leads them into a bad direction most times where they can get into, you know, a bad friends group or, you know, they could get bad grades.
Yes,
Eventually, you know, go a wrong direction where, you know, they might even start taking drugs or they might do crime and end up
yes.
in prison, you know? So how was like your history class? Did you like history?
Yeah, we learned history while I was in primary school, and yes, it was interesting because they get to tell us about, independence and things that happened long time ago. It was interesting. It was usually interesting.
Okay. Did you, so you kind of mentioned independence. Did you learn about like, I believe it was the British that colonized
Yes,
Nigeria.
yes, yes. By the British, we were colonized by the British, and I think it was for like 60 years. Then we got it was from the 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
We got colonized by the British, and we gained our independence 1960. So that's 60 years.
Yeah,
1960, October 1st. So we celebrate that every year.
got it. Okay. All right. So that's what you primarily learned about. Did you learn about like, was there like Nigerian like slavery? Um,
Yes, yes. We learned all about that. Slavery, how they even have like we still have a place like a museum in Nigeria where they took us there for school excursion while I was in primary school, and they showed us their chains and everything, how they would lock their mouths and stuff like that, being tortured and all that. We learned all about that.
okay. So with learning about slavery, learning about, you know, being colonized by the British and then independence, did you ever learn about like the greatness of Nigeria? Like, did you ever learn about how great Nigeria was like maybe in BC era or anything like that?
Yes, they still talk good about it, not just the bad parts of it. They still
Okay.
talk things about like that too.
Okay. So just like maybe not much.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So did you learn about anything like outside of Nigeria? Like within Africa? Like did you learn about um Egyptians and like pyramids? Like did you ever go across that? Did you learn about that in school?
No, not really.
Not really,
We
huh?
didn't talk. No, not about Egypt, but mostly about Ghana, because there was a time I think Ghana flee to Nigeria for some reasons, and when they were chasing, we actually chased them back. So they told a story about that.
I see.
Then I didn't learn anything about Egypt,
Okay.
honestly.
I got you. So if I say like you know, if you know who the Nubians are, you do you know who the Nubians are?
No.
Yeah. So I figured so. So the Nubians were a set of people that originated from kind of in the I would say more so like the Ethiopian, Sudan region.
Okay.
and they migrated eventually to Egypt, where they were able to create
Oh,
large empires. So
oh,
that was like BC era. So this is like 4,000, 5,000 years ago. So that's who like the Nubians were. And then they migrated all over Africa. So that's like a bit of history for you.
that's a new one for me.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically what I'm trying to do here with the Life Network is be able to interact
Yeah.
internationally like this and have like a course where I can show you a PowerPoint and, introduce different histories. So that's the purpose of this. In terms of like Nigerian culture, Nigerian customs, was that something that was taught in school? Like, did you learn about Nigerian like culture?
Yes, they told us about, we have different kind of diverse culture and like I think it's more than 20 different languages and culture. So, but we have three major culture. That's three major languages, which is Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa. So they taught us mostly of that, those three major languages in Nigeria. So yes, they taught us about Igbo has different culture, how they marry, how they different gods they serve.
Mm,
We still have Christians too, and also we still have the traditional worshippers. Christianity is just like something modern in Nigeria, in Africa,
yeah.
not really. Yeah, so they told us about like the Hausa have a different way of getting married, the Igbo has a different way of getting married, and that huge different languages and different gods they serve.
Okay. Okay, I get it. So when you talk about getting married, is that where you talk about like polygamy and stuff like that? Is that still practiced today?
Yes, it's like the houses, they are mostly permitted to marry as much as men. That's the northerners. They are mostly permitted to marry as much wife as they can, as they want to.
I see. Okay.
But now everybody can. Nigeria, not only the Hausas, but before it used to be just the Hausas and kings that are permitted to get more than one wives.
Okay. So it's kind of more established men that could obviously take care of more than one woman.
Yes.
I see. So the average man that might not have a lot of money, maybe only has one wife.
Yes, yes. It's also determined to see how rich you are. If you have more than one wife, you're rich.
Right. Because you could
You're
take
able
care
to
of,
look
yeah.
after them.
Yeah, it makes sense so that you can take care of them. You don't want to be a poor man and you
Yes.
have multiple women that you can't even support. So did you learn about anything about like African American history? Did you ever hear about like Black Americans during school?
Yes, not much, but just that what they told us was that during the slave trade, like the ones they took over to different countries, they got lost there and couldn't come back. That
Yeah,
was what they told us. So they couldn't find their way. They have children, so they started living there since they couldn't find their way back.
I got it. So the you learn like the slave trade.
Yes.
Yeah, the transatlantic slave trade. Okay. Did you learn about anything else with African Americans, or was that kind of just where they stopped it?
Not much.
No.
That's what I know. That's what I remember. They just told us that during the slave trade, when they took most different countries, so they got lost. They couldn't come back. They couldn't find their way back. So that was how
Exactly.
they got there and
Exactly.
started living there and having children.
To that point, would you be interested in like learning more about African American history and culture? Like if it was presented to you for free, would you be interested in that?
Of course, yes, I would be.
Okay. So if there was like an online course like this where, all you have to do was click a link and you could come into the course, like would you be interested in like attending like an online course that was like for free and you just come in and learn and interact with people like me and all over the world?
Yes, I would love to.
Okay, good. All right. And kind of just asking like these last couple of questions. How do you feel like because African Americans have when you look at all the black nations around the world, and then you look at like Black America has like a lot of money. You know, individually we don't have a lot, most of us, but when we put our money together, we have a lot, a great amount. And so I always, just like with my business, want to try and help people outside of America and help, as I call them, like my brothers and sisters, Africans outside of America. So my question, how do you feel like African Americans can help Nigerians more? Like what do you think we can do? How can we help?
Help Nigeria. Okay. Like you said something about an online course. If there's something like young Nigerians, like something online they can learn, introduce something new to them, like maybe trading or something they can learn online, which will be easier to get to them through, social media. For that would also be helpful because there's like a way they can be self-employed and do stuff for themselves online because job job situation in Nigeria it's not really good. There's a lot of unemployment for young youths and all that, a lot. So like in a way they can just, be able to do something for themselves, like an online course, trading, something. They can learn and fetch money from themselves. It will be helpful.
I see. Okay, so like us being able to provide online courses, trainings, how to
Yes, they can learn and make money for themselves.
right, how to do things, how to promote your own business or whatever, so that you
Yes,
learn those skills and then take it into the city and, practice it.
yes.
That makes a lot of sense. I think that's really helpful. I think that's really helpful. And really, this is really my last question is, um, is there anything you want to say specifically about like African unity or Pan-Africanism or anything of that nature where, is there anything about African unity that you want to express?
Just like, just keep the love going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Awesome. Well, listen, Ruth, I appreciate it so much. You coming on here. I think you said some things that were definitely very interesting. I think a lot of things that African Americans here in America are not very accustomed to. So I think that the information that you were able to share was brilliant. I really appreciate you, showing up and sharing us with
Thank you.
your story.
Thank you for having me too.